say the full name, so I'm going to say...
This is Ricardo Ernesto Aguirre.
Oh, see, we got the whole name that time.
Yes, not the whole name. Yes, we tried many names, and we had a list so extensive that at the end I got kind of totally confused. I said, okay, bodegas, all the wineries in Spain are called bodegas, so here we go, Bodegas Aguirre. It was just a desperation move. Well, everybody knows that the 1923, the Semillon from Livermore was the #1 wine in the world.
Right, yeah.
So I guess we have a good footing to do wine. And surprisingly enough, 70% of all Chardonnay in California is from the Wente French clones. So, you know, it looks like we have a good footing. Well, it's in the time before Prohibition, this was a fairly large area for wine growing. After that, they just sacramental wines were produced here by, I think Concanon was the main, and obviously the Wente family were the founders of the wines here. The old Cresta Blanca, I don't remember who was the owner of the Cresta Blanca winery, which produced the award-winning wines, but it has been a very long time. Yes, it's a small town. When we came here, it was even smaller, but right now it's really becoming a very nice town with restaurants and a lot of things to do. We were, I believe, winery number 23, and there is more than 50 now. Yes, we started a long time ago, yeah. 1986. Yeah. We planted Cabernet Sauvignon, we planted Merlot, and from then we moved to this area, and then we planted Petit Syrah, and later on we morphed into multiple varietals. So, but right now we are dedicated mostly to Cabernet Sauvignon, sure. Bordeaux type of varietals, and Petit Syrah. One of the reasons that the vines like this area is because they go to sleep at night. It is fresh. They work during the day. It's very hot, but the temperature ranges can be up to 30 degrees from night to day. So if you go to the Central Valley, the vines are angry because they cannot go to sleep. They are working all the time. So they say, I am not going to produce good vines. I'll just do what I can with all this heat. This area is closer to Rutherford in terms of latitude and average temperatures. Mm-hmm. But it's fairly close, although we cannot be so pretentious as to say that we produce the best wines in the world, but we are very competitive at this point. I try to let people know that wine drinking is not a secret. It is not a profession. It is just a pleasure to do it. If you like the wine, little by little, your taste buds will accommodate to the better wines. Some people, as their income grows, so grows their appetite for, let's say, better quality wines, and you end up being a self-taught connoisseur. Well, when I want to be kind of funny, I said I got in it by mistake because I thought I was going to become rich making wine.
Let's all laugh at that now. Okay.
So there is it is a passion, and a passion that it is really developed over the years. I remember being a child sneaking and tasting the wines when we were at reunions and parties and so forth. But later on, I was very fortunate when I came to the United States to study to be a surgeon. You know, I didn't want the cat to get out of the bag, but it really went out. But in those days, the surgeons I was working with were very wine aficionados, and they would only drink the Chateau Latour, and you know. So I was very fortunate because in those days, a bottle of, let's say, Latour, just to say, you could buy it for $26. And every time we went out, they all got, look at this wine from Burgundy, this Pinot Noir, and so forth. So I became, my palate got used to the good quality wines. But, you know, later on, obviously, my pocket couldn't afford even $26 when 50 years ago was a lot of money but to pay for a bottle of wine. But surprisingly enough, I went to a wine shop in Philadelphia, and that is a mistake. Philadelphia didn't have wine shops. You had to go to the state store to buy it.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah,
you know, I forgot. I wasn't forget. But then, no, in New Jersey. So the guy says, I want you to taste this little wine from California. It was the Heights Cellars. And I said, how much are they? And I said, well, for the Chardonnay, you can have it for $16, and the Cabernet Sauvignon for $34.
And a little perspective, what year would that have been roughly?
In 1976. But realistically, I said, oh my God, you know, California, these wines are better than some of the stuff that we are drinking from France. And then I don't remember we were poor, not poor of solemnity, but we didn't make much money, so we couldn't afford it. But so Gallo came up with a red wine that they call it some sort of Burgundy, that we paid 99 cents for a bottle, you know, and we drank it. We didn't particularly get too concerned about the quality per se, you know, for a party and so forth. But then later on, I think I am digressing in terms of your question. So the wine, so I was driving around with one of my friends, and I told him, you know, when I can afford it, I would like to have a vineyard. And he says, let's drive around. So we drove on Tesla Road. And he said, look at that property there. And says, my niece owns it, and she wants to sell it. So I said, well, all depends what the price is. So he said, well, it's going to be, it's not cheap, he said, by any means. It's about $1,600 an acre. And I said, oh my God, that is highway robbery. Can you imagine $1,600 for an
California
for an acre of prime land there? So somehow I was able to purchase the 32 acres, and you know, we had some. We bought it in 1980, I think 82, and eventually, well, we started our vineyards down there. So the rest is a little bit of history. In 1999, we came here and we planted Petit Syrah. And from then on, there was too much Petit Syrah and too much Cab and too much. So I did Malbec, I did Petit Verdot. One point, I planted Tempranillo, Susao, and Touriga Nacional to make port wine, which we didn't do too bad. We didn't go best of show with our port wine once. So it is a matter of trying different things. But what it stands today as our main wines to continue to be the Cabernet Sauvignon, Bordeaux varietals. We do the Malbec, Petit Verdot, and the Petit Syrah. It is bodegasaguirre.com. Well, thank you for your presence. It's been a real pleasure to work with you.